Hello, my name is Erica Campbell. I'm making this video for our Arts and Early Childhood Education Lab number 10, which is integrating the arts into our curriculum. I was excited to plan a lesson that focused on more than just the arts that we've been learning about the past few months. So I decided to plan a lesson that was going to touch on different domains of learning, which include the visual arts, science, language and literacy, and other areas such as math as we conduct this activity. I decided to plan a lesson that was going to focus on the story The Very Hungry Caterpillar by Eric Carle. This is a board book version because it's what I had available right now, but for older children you could use the bigger book, the paperback book, but for the time being and for the video I am just going to use this book. And one thing that I learned is that while planning lessons, it's important to be able to make accommodations. So for my lesson, I had that we were going to use different colored paints. But I was in the bath grabbing paints and I realized that we had these really cool acrylic paint sticks. And this is just a different way for children to paint using a stick instead of the paintbrushes. So for my activity today, I'm going to switch it around and I'm going to decide to use these acrylic paint sticks instead of paint and a paintbrush. So to start my activity, I would have children sit in groups with pretty decent sized pieces of paper, and I would let the children pick their own name as their group. So for this activity, one group might say they're the caterpillar group. So I would just write on the top, caterpillar group. And we would read this story, but to start we would talk about the life cycle of a caterpillar and how it starts as an egg and then it turns into a caterpillar, then it turns into a chrysalis, and then eventually it turns into a beautiful butterfly. And that incorporates science into this lesson. And then obviously with the reading and the communicating with their groups, that would focus on the language and literacy aspect of that. So I would start by reading The Very Hungry Caterpillar by Eric Carle. In the light of the moon, a little egg lay on a leaf. One Sunday morning, the warm sun came up. Pop! Out of the egg came a tiny and very hungry caterpillar. He started to look for food. On Monday, he ate through one apple, but he was still hungry. So in this part of the story is when I would pause, and we would talk about the number of apples that he ate. So that would be 1. So each group member would get a turn to grab a color and to draw 1 apple, because in the story he ate 1 apple. So here's a little example of what the children would be doing. Sorry, I'm trying to open this with one hand. What the children would be doing as I read the story. And I would take pauses and we would talk about apples and if they're healthy and if the kids liked them. And then we would go on to the next page, which would be on Tuesday, he ate through 2 pears, but he was still hungry. So then the children would get a turn, a different member of the group, to draw 2 pears on the page. So this incorporates math and the visual arts into one activity. So we're making the number and the shape and the fruit that the caterpillar's eating. So then we'd go on, and on Wednesday he ate through 3 plums, but he was still hungry. So we would talk about if the kids liked plums and if plums were healthy, and what color plums are and when we would find plums and all of that good stuff. So now I drew 3 plums. So now we are incorporating math again. So we have 1 apple, 2 pears, and 3 plums. We would continue this as the story goes on, and I would connect the children's learning to what they have learned about foods, if they're healthy, if they're not healthy, what they like, what they've eaten before, what they'd like to try. That can be a follow-up activity for the children. We can try all of the foods that the caterpillar ate, and we can graph, which would incorporate math again. So I think it's very important that as a professional, we plan activities that reach different domains of learning. So with this activity, I feel like I did a good job meeting the visual arts. I did a good job incorporating language and literacy and math. And I just feel like as a professional, it's important to meet all those different areas so that children really thrive in their development. Thank you very much.